Today on Magicians Talking Magic, we're having a real discussion about where we're at when it comes to live events returning. Will you be taking any precautions when it comes to performing in person again, or is it just another day at the office? It's been 1 year. Do you have a new show, performance, or act? Are you going to be performing in new venues? In Ontario, we are still under tight restrictions. Are you feeling jealous or anxious of other performers who have already gotten back on stage?
Welcome to Magicians Talking Magic. My name is Ryan Joyce.
And my name is Graemazing. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Magicians Talking Magic 127. And Joyce, before we dive into the news as we usually do, how about last week's episode, that virtual magic panel discussion? That was great.
So much fun to hear everybody's experiences, thoughts, and opinions about the whole virtual scene. I enjoyed that so much. We have to do that again. This is going to be a regular feature here on the podcast. Well, regular enough.
Yeah, I personally learned a lot from it too. Everyone's perspective, because we had a lot of people there that necessarily don't perform a lot of virtual shows. So we got the viewer perspective, and that was amazing to actually dive into that through our questions. So if you haven't listened to the virtual magic panel, it's a really interesting conversation because it's not your usual same old virtual magicians you've been seeing everywhere else kind of thing.
Yeah, this is what makes this so helpful, is to hear everybody else's experiences so we can all get better at the virtual stuff. And is that going to stay? Is that the future? Well, that's kind of the discussion of today, amongst other things, about getting back and performing. So we're going to get into all that. Is the engine starting to return on live events? So we're excited. We're going to dive into that. But we do have some magic news to discuss.
Yep. First news and updates here at Magicians Talking Magic. We want to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have exclusive content like this episode. You can watch this episode on our YouTube and other past episodes. Joyce, you don't even know this yet, but I have a bunch of clips coming your way soon for the YouTube as well. Some previous podcast sound bites. Ooh. And
well, your last video was awesome, giving everybody a peek at the card problem, as it were. I don't know. It's not a problem. It's fun. Well, maybe it is a little bit of a problem.
It feels like a problem to me. And I've actually been taught, I kind of actually want to get rid of that problem. Anyhow, if you check out my playing card problem on our YouTube channel and you comment about your favorite deck of cards, tell us your favorite deck in the YouTube comments on that video, you have a chance to win Airlock by Ryan Joyce, Virtual Magic Show Opener by Ryan Joyce, and 2 decks of playing cards. You can win a specials deck of playing cards. That's my own personal deck of cards. And another random deck from my personal collection of cards, which all these cards that I've collected over the years, they're kind of old and some of them are collectible. So you don't know what you might get. And also, previous contest winners like Kid Oldman know that there's often even more bonuses in your package too.
That sounds like a whole lot of reason to add your favorite comment or your favorite deck to the comment section. We've already got several in there, so get on in and tell us what is your favorite deck. Lots to win. So exciting. And just check out the video. It is great. Lots of, the videography on that was really, really well done, man. I loved the slow-mo and it looks really awesome. Well, don't forget to, absolutely. It got me inspired. We should work on little individual films or something for the channel. This is great. Don't forget, join us in Discord. We want to see you in there. We've got all sorts of great discussions, including some topic discussion on our Verbal Magic upcoming book club. So I did some book club reading over the weekend. Got some pages in. I am getting all geared up.
This book club is going to be a fascinating one, I think. We've been chatting off the record about this book, and compared to Art of Astonishment, no spoilers here. You have to stay tuned for our book club happening really soon. But you'll notice if you're watching the video, there's a couple post-its on some of these pages here. I have marked off some little gems here that we're going to talk about. But we also have some real drops about this book too. So stay tuned for book club.
Let's talk about the Magic Challenge.
Yes, talking Discord. We're bringing back Magic Challenge. If you are a follower of the podcast and you're also on Discord, you would know that our first Magic Challenge actually birthed Airlock by Ryan Joyce, now available from your favorite magic dealer. Make sure to support your local magic shops. Keep them running, keep them alive, keep those hats and wands in the shops, you know. But we're going to do this Magic Challenge again, and the topic this week, or this coming up Magic Challenge, we'll probably run another poll or survey in the Discord to find the best time for everyone to jam out on this. Has already, if you're listening to this episode today, this has already been revealed in our Discord. And you know what? We're going to be jamming out on our next Magic Challenge, which might happen possibly at the end of this week, maybe over the weekend or something like that, but sooner than later. So if you want to get in on our Magic Challenge, where we take a topic and then bring all your thoughts and ideas, and you don't need a trick necessarily, it's all about brainstorming and problem solving at that point, and you never know where these things might take you.
It was a lot of fun the last time, and I look forward to this one. And I think the secret item is a perfect fit. So that's great. Got a couple Cam Jam updates for you. Canadian Association of Magicians has their Cam Jam every second Wednesday of each month. This one, we're not we're exactly 100% sure if it's going to be on our same time. We might move it 1 week ahead because we're working on something that I got to keep a little bit secret for now, but it's a little bit more complicated than in previous aligning a couple schedules. So we might have to do it 1 week advance, but I will keep you all posted and on the podcast, but also via email. So you could go ahead and register right now if you want, cammagic.org/events, and you'll automatically be notified if the time moves and registered for that new time. So go to cammagic.org/events. We've also got a sneak exclusive preview of the June VANISH International Magic Magazine with Paul Romani, and we're going to share that for you right now.
Hey Ryan, thanks so much for this. I'm super excited about this one. Look who we actually, believe this or not, we have a double cover, Ryan. You're going to love this. So the front cover is Alexandra Duvivier.
I love her.
And on the back cover, which we'll get to that, is her father. So it's a double edition. Super excited. We should mention too that, of course, FISM, the big FISM next year, the biggest convention. I mean, this is huge. 1 year to go. Next year, 2022. If you're going to one convention, this is the one to go in Quebec.
Going to be incredible. My goodness. The lineup, the guests, the competition, the city, amazing.
So of course we have Alexander, and then we have Dominique on the back as well. So we have some great. Let's just quickly run through it. This is amazing, and I want to show this. This is iForce. It's just come on the market. It's a mentalism prop that uses a cover of an iPhone. It's a classic concept, but just so incredibly handmade, handcrafted. Check out iForce. It's really worth checking out. Of course, you can get the VANISH poster. Chris Angel's back. So here's our cover story. I'll just quickly run through it here. Won't go into it, but if you saw her on Flawless, then you know how good she is. True, and her father is amazing, and the things they do together. So we talk about her career, but also what they've been doing during lockdown, coming
Legends.
back. Oh, absolutely. So this is, and then of course there's Dominique, her father there. So
this is amazing to see both profiled in the same magazine. This is amazing.
Well,
everybody, knows the works of these two artists. This is incredible.
Front and back covers. So I'll get to the back. Wired to Create by Steve Spill Part 2. Steve is one of the most creative and funny guys on the planet. He's sharing ideas on how to create magic and how to create routine. So this is a 3-part series. You can get his book as well. Now this is amazing. Nick Lewin, in the nick of time, we're going to get to this in a minute, but Bernard Reed was a cruise legend. He was a cruise director as well as a magician from New Zealand. I grew up just knowing about him. I got to meet him later in life, but in his life. But so Nick does a little farewell there to Bernard, who passed away sadly recently. And he looks at the most incredible online show, Jeff McBride's Magic Quest, which I happened to see. I don't know if you saw it.
I haven't. I missed it.
Jeff, now it took a whole
extended the run too. I was really hoping to see it.
It took a whole year for everybody to do their Zoom shows, and then Jeff came along and just cleaned it up. He nailed it because he did everything that everyone else didn't do. He created a show, and you really have to see it. It was a woven story of Jeff's life through magic, and it was just terrific. I mean, the magic was great.
He did give us a sneak peek on the Cam Jam.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah.
The whole.
Yeah,
incredible. Looks
incredible. So anyway, there's Nick's right up on it there, and then we have actually great timing. This is the last in the series of Magical Wisdom by Lynn Miner, focus on Jeff McBride. So we've got some real scoops in here because Jeff talks about things that he's never shared before. So this is really super exciting. to have this sort of little tribute there to Jeff, and our tribute to Bernard Reed by Jeff Everson, a lovely tribute. Bernard was Jeff's first really mentor.
Wow.
So I put this, but this is the words are by Jeff. I put this together, but some great photos. If you look at the bottom there of cruising back, probably the 70s or something, doing a zigzag. So
Wow,
a really nice write up there on Bernard. And then we have moving along. Of course, we have our advertisers. Great.
All the newest magic.
All the latest
today,
Nexus.
right?
Nexus is another one. It's a product highlight. Nexus is terrific. It's a special wallet. Does everything. I call it the Swiss Army knife of wallets. It's truly amazing, so it's worth checking that out. And remember, I haven't got what I'm showing you. There'll be video interactive in the magazine as well. The advertisers are great because we get advertisers that you don't get in other magazines. So it's really nice to have something different. Again, this is terrific. Let's taco about it. Christopher T. Magician, who's my favorite family entertainer, but he has a great routine which I love and it's a multiplying rabbits, but you can see it there. It's called Rabbit Dinero and Hiriana Grande. So that's if you multiplying rabbits, it's classic. But he takes everything and just really gives it an update. So great routine there. Louis Fox with a really good sort of Alexa hat. It's a trick you can do at home with your Amazon Alexa. So how cool is that? And you just have to print those. Yeah, it's really cool. So, and then we have signed coin transpo. Aaron Matthews from Toronto doing some
great piece from
amazing. He's such a creative guy. Look, I'm getting ideas from him every day, and this is another one. And I get to see them on video. And he's going to start doing the videos. I said we should add those into it so people can see the performances.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
So that's all great. This is by Harvey Raft, also from Toronto. Actually, Harvey's got a couple of books out. This is a great magic card routine here by Harvey. Harvey's an incredible thinker, has some great magic on the market, so he's shared this with us. This is interesting. This is amazing by Felicity Fields, A Squib in the World, and it's a tale of three couples. And I'm not going to say anything. I just think everyone should read it, and then think about what you read. That's all I'm going to say. It really made me sit up and think. So moving along. As I said, lots of great advertisers. They keep the magazine going.
There's Charles. We just had him featured on the podcast. That's great. He just opened up. Yeah,
he's put in an ad in. And finally, we have the reviews. So, all the latest reviews, magic reviews. Some really killer stuff, I must say. One of the highlights, in fact, if I showed you my wallet, which here it is. Here's my wallet. Inside my wallet, people always say, well, do you actually perform anything that you review? And I'm going to just say I do. It's in my wallet.
On the ready.
Is Prohibition Monte, so it's sitting in my wallet. It's one of the best little card routines you could carry with you anywhere by Alan Ronson, so that's great.
That's great.
So really great magic this month. And that's it. I just want to show you the back cover quickly. There he is.
Oh, nice.
It's a double cover, which is really nice. So it's a really terrific issue. I'm really proud of it, and I think it's
tribute to our mes amis en français.
Oui.
Yes.
I have no idea what you said, but I know that means yes.
Paul, thanks so much for giving us
triple snaps to Paul. It's always great to hear from Paul and hear the latest update from Vanish Magazine, which is the best and most current magic magazine you can grab, download, and get it right to your email each and every month. What Paul does there, I can't believe the amount of work he puts into this magazine on top of everything else. Because if you don't know Paul, he's also involved with things like Cam and so many other things. And he's also an incredible husband and father as well, too. So triple snaps to Paul.
Triple snaps. He is one hard worker. Well, today's topic is about moving forward and like the next stages of this and our thoughts and opinions and experiences thus far. And it is I'm curious, you've been doing lots and lots and lots of virtual shows, so I'm definitely curious to hear your input. My engine of the cruise world and all that, I'm like all starting to brace for that coming back, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the stuff we want to sort of chat about, what we know here on the episode. And we of course want to know your thoughts, and you can join us in Discord to share those. So let's start right off. Well, if you don't mind, I'll give you my little insight of what I know. I have been offered cruise work already for June and July, which I've had to turn down. Obviously, I'm not double vaccinated, first of all, so we can't leave the country yet. Also in lockdown, so there's lots of reasons that I had to turn that down. But technically speaking, cruises are ramping up in like 25 days from now.
Really?
So yeah, so that the whole industry is about to resurge. So I sort of said, come the end of the year, I will be available uh, to progress in the cruise industry again. I'll be double vaccinated by then. So I'm not in a position where I'm actually entering that workforce again because I've got so many other side hustles and things, but it's already ramping up, which feels a little out of this universe here in Ontario, because we are just this week going to be opening up certain levels of our lockdown. So the rest of the world seems to be sort of moving around us, but I'm conflicted on all this because I don't emotionally, I don't know that I'm the travel lifestyle is certainly difficult. The cruise industry is lovely, like the ships and the venues and everything is awesome, but the travel lifestyle is something I'm not sure that it's
Do
going to
you
come
think?
back with the same charm.
Do you think? You kind of talked about it a little bit there. Do you think once you're fully vaccinated and a couple months from now, as we see things start to open up more and more, do you think you would be inclined to possibly say a solid yes to a cruise ship? Or is your goals to try to stay on the land?
Yeah, I haven't been aware of all of the terms and conditions moving forward. Like, I don't think anybody really is. So once I have that knowledge, I feel like I can better make decisions about things. But uh, I, th- I've heard all sorts of rumors about cruise ships and things like there's going to be reduced pay and you're not going to, work um, unless you commit to like 6 months. I don't know that any of that stuff is true yet. Um, I've also heard things like the like production shows on ships are going to start off um, slow or non-existent, just because the cast and such is um, it's still a question mark. I think to have
Is the
25
goal?
people on a on a
Yeah,
cast. So
it sounds like the goal from talking to you and Charles Bach was to there's going to be a focus on kind of one person or two person shows, really small acts or limited people on stage, of course, being sensible about COVID, which is also when you're thinking of a cruise ship, I mean, okay. Um, say there's someone listening and they're interested about cruising and kind of this industry. Who would be maybe some names to get in contact with that might be up on like all these industry things?
yeah, totally. Well, I tell you, one of the first books that I bought was from Paul Romani, who is the king. And he's got lots of resources out there, I believe, on his official website. You can check those. I have not kept my scopes open for like cruise related content in the last couple of years, only because I've been on them. But I'm certain there's some really great resources that video options as well that might be out there. I haven't really explored. That's a great question. But Paul Romani's book was incredible, and it really gave me all the insights of what it's like a mindset. Cruise industry is a mindset thing, and you got to be key personality traits. You got to be really easygoing and flexible and accommodating, and no ego and drama, and willing to chat with passengers and guests, and just make like your experience outside of just the show easy and effortless. And having a good solid show nowadays, they require two 45-minute shows, which I feel conflicted on that as a magical performer versus a musician. I think it demands a lot for a performer to have two solid 45-minute variety style shows. I don't have that same sense of difficulty for music, but I also I don't have musical talents or skills, so I don't know. It is probably like difficult to make those shows as well. But for magicians, I think having two 45-minute shows is super difficult, and I don't see that changing at all, because especially now, one cabin, two shows is kind of how they, I'm sure, would look at that, and especially now that um, in the age of if there's no cast and they really need people to headline twice. Thankfully, and then we'll move on to the next question, but thankfully there was one time I'll be off of this topic, but we were going one port was canceled because there was a hurricane. It was just myself and one other guest entertainer. And thankfully, both of us had 3 shows between the two of us. So we had to go all the way to Portugal, which is like an 8-day sailing. And it was just the two of us that headlined all
Wow.
the main stage shows outside of the cast. So anyways, it really helps to have another asset.
But for you, your second show was a totally different show too. You did hypnosis
Yeah.
and magic, which is a really, I mean, when you're talking about demanding too, that's a totally other. That'd be like, oh, I'm a magician and a juggler.
Yeah, it's certainly been very helpful for, filling calendars and schedules and making sure those shows are great and high pressure. No pressure on having 2 great 45-minute magic shows. So yeah, definitely the cruise industry is evolving and changing. I'm curious to see what happens moving forward, how this impacts it. I don't have any of those insights or questions, but or the answers, pardon me, but when I do discover them, I will help pass them on. And I'll just button on, like, it's a really, the cruise industry is, like, when you look at it from, it's a gift. What a gift. Like, you enter into this vessel and you perform in these amazing venues where, like, you've got 2,000 people right in front of you that, it's hard once you had 2,000 people or so applaud on the regular. It's so hard to have the same level of stimulation from 125 people in a venue that seats 700 or something. It's just, there's many aspects of the cruise industry that are gifts. Anyways, how about you, man? Your scope and spectrum of work is, well, you do pretty much everything, and restaurants was one of the main focus. What do you think about all stuff moving forward?
Restaurants. So the main thing that I'm wanted to talk about for me, business wise, because I kind of do a little bit of everything, I guess. But restaurants was my main bag. I would do multiple restaurants a week, and that was my main focus on getting new gigs and promoting myself, learning new tricks, getting your chops up. I mean, restaurants is really, when you're a new magician or a newer magician, or even if you're any magician and you just want to really get your chops all seasoned up, doing a restaurant is a crazy experience because I had it down to, I know there's so many different methods and ideas on restaurants. I just had basically one set that had variables to it. So the opener might change, and I had 3 different closers essentially. And I started focusing on just these effects. And when I focused on just the effects and performing them more, I was just knocking it out of the park. And that's what restaurants allow you to do. You get to find your style of magic really quick and what connects with people and how you connect with people and what you're saying through. So anyhow, restaurants were great. But what I've been thinking a lot about, I tried the virtual restaurant magic thing. Trying to deal with restaurants right now is not appropriate. They have so many unique struggles, especially here in Ontario. So I kind of just tiptoed away from that. And then thinking about the future of these levels opening up, it's not even in the cards, no pun intended, that restaurant magic will even be an option coming up anytime soon. Like, I don't even know what level we have to hit to allow someone like an entertainer to go tableside with a deck of cards or something and spread them out on the table. And I don't even know if I feel comfortable doing that. So I think I came to this conclusion sometime late last year that I won't do I think I'm done with restaurants, which is so weird to think about because I did them for like 15 years. I was working in restaurants for 15 years. It was a huge part of my magic education, but I'm glad I got to do them and I can take all those skills moving forward. However, from doing this virtual landscape now, a whole set of new doors have opened up for me in corporate connections. And one thing that I've always played around with in the back of my head is possibly doing trade shows or something like that. And I think that is very much in the future for me, doing trade shows or helping with sales pitches with my magic and things like that, but doing more corporate functions, high level corporate functions, and not just the Christmas party anymore either, but really big kind of sales. And I can take all the things that I've already learned in the restaurants and just transition them into this new landscape. And so that's kind of where my new shift has gone. It feels weird knowing that I probably won't do restaurant magic ever again, and knowing that last time I did a restaurant, I didn't really know it was the last time I would do a restaurant too.
Yeah, these are great questions. Like, the idea of being able to pass off a deck of cards, is that going to return immediately, or is it going to take a couple months? How would people's comfort zones going to settle over the next year or so? I truthfully think, and I'd be curious to hear what you. I believe that a lot of these things will probably return to normalcy. Like, as much as I keep saying that the handshake is dead, I don't think it will be. I think people, jump all back into all these exact same ways of life, which is encouraging to think about.
I think you're right, because we saw those clips of the golf that happened a couple weeks ago, right? And the crowds swarming around. It was like things that we see when Tiger Woods was walking down the greens. And I'm watching wrestling all the time. There was a pay-per-view event, Double or Nothing, on the weekend. Full sold out crowd, fans, sound like very few masks, fans on top of each other with signs, so jumping on each other and everything like this, going nuts like it was a rock show. So I think you're right. Things will probably just return back to normal and it'll be okay. I mean, I know we're both half vaccinated. I know when I got the first, when I got that vaccine, I was so happy that there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, for this now.
Agreed. And our timeline here in Ontario has been accelerated too. So our second vaccines are coming. So the events and all that technically, we haven't really talked to our own thoughts about moving like this year forward, but maybe Christmas shows and stuff, maybe we all can have nice busy schedules for the holiday season. So there's some optimism.
Actually, there's a hot tip. I think when we always talk about rebranding your website ahead of schedule, getting the the SEO in line with Google, ready for things, and also knowing that your target, how ahead will they be planning their events. And I think late fall and Christmas parties is what we should be planning for. This is maybe specific to Ontario. But that's actually where I'm changing my website to, is having a little show structure. And then the one thing, I think we touched on, the only precaution I'm taking is just no touching for this magic show this holiday season. But I feel like next year we'll probably be in that full comfort level, but I'm going to try to do a no touching kind of show. But however, maybe doing a touching trick is so taboo. It's like mysterious for people to do something like that. But I don't know. We'll see. That's all up in the air. It's so random.
Are you going to change much of your material? Are you going to? I've thought about, like, it has to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. The fact that we haven't been performing in a year, and I'll toss it to you. I'll just say this real quick. I'm curious to see, for example, what the cruise ship industry does, because sometimes they'll say, like, don't mention it, because if you do, then that's like 7 performers 7 days a week, all talking about COVID and pandemic and stuff. So it makes sense to me that they request this not to, because probably just say it off the. But I feel like there's got to be some rapport building in that script phase that acknowledges it. So I just don't know how I'm going to tackle it yet. I've been thinking about this aggressively for the last month or so. How about you?
I feel the same way, that I don't want to bring it up because we'll be hearing about it on the news, social media, everywhere. You're just going to be seeing it over and over again. And to hear it again on stage, you're right. It's kind of like, I don't need to hear that again. But what is for your own personal character, the smartest way, the shortest way, the nice button way for the audience to go, oh, to the way that you would have your comeback line almost, right? I remember watching WrestleMania and they had the first live audiences and you could see the wrestlers come out. They never acknowledged it, but you could see them come out to the crowd for the first time, how emotional it was, getting like legit fired up from real people for once, being like real fans, not just staff members being in the audience.
I'm curious. Do you think you'll be more anxious? Like, I typically am not backstage like super anxious.
I'll be crazy
I think
anxious.
I think I'll be more because it's been so long. Oh my God.
There's going to be so many emotions going through your head at that day, right? I mean, oh my goodness. And it's going to be really exciting. I'm super pumped for that to happen. When it comes to new material and a new show, yes, I'm going to have all new material and I'm going to have a new show for a couple of reasons. I don't remember my old show. It's like, it's not in my nature anymore. I know I have recordings of it. I could go revisit it. But when I was kind of looking at the props, like, I don't know, I don't relate to them anymore. And I have new goals with my character Graemazing. and I want to express those through my magic. And I kind of want to dive into the character of Graemazing. So I've been working on all new tricks that are kind of no touching that can be transitioned into touching, I guess, if that makes sense. I've been thinking about those kind of things. And then also making a focus on the real flow of magic, more emphasis on the flow. And I've learned a lot from virtual magic. Can I apply some of these techniques that I've learned from virtual, maybe using OBS to add some enhancement to the show, using a camera and using maybe some of these tricks that I've done virtually on stage? I think a lot of them can work pretty well in that sense too. So I will have a new show, new material. And when it comes to close up, I've blown out my thumb like permanently. I think I did this damage like a couple years ago when I went to physio. I got it fixed. I've blown it out again, and I do my exercises again all the time. But it's totally from my close-up magic, and so the style of close-up magic I used to do, I need to change it. So I've been relearning a new close-up act to perform it that doesn't require crazy dexterity and use of my thumbs. What about you? Are you gonna have new material on the show?
I'm not sure. I definitely will have a new piece of material or two in there. I'm not sure what I want to replace. This is something that I've been thinking a lot on right now. I'm definitely thinking on the scripting portion, but I want to change my entire opener. I want my travel wise, my opener in my cruise show has a couple extra technical bits that I bring along with me just for like a 30-second bit. And it's a kind of my, I don't want to say a signature, but it's a key aspect of like my hook. And so I'm racking my brain to find ways that I can simplify that. And the ship that I was offered, oh my gosh, it's the newest ship. And like I wanted to open the ship. It's the back curtain is like a 70-foot curved screen. So it's all video. It's like perfect for my show. So I've been thinking about creating the like morphing all my graphics and stuff. I can't, it's odd because I can't really, my hook is sort of built into some of my video stuff. So I don't want to share and tell too much, but I definitely have a little bit of work ahead of me to upgrade the tech aspects of the show. Also, like when I filmed a lot of my own stuff, I was like 6 years ago. I'm getting old, so I got to refilm again. So lots to polish up on. I feel like it's like getting the dust off the show and going through and like I haven't started watching old footage or anything yet, but I'm going in my mind. I'm like, what's okay? So I would walk out and would say this, and then it was that, and then you hit a whole like a wall. I'm like, oh my god, I have absolutely no idea what line came next.
Yeah.
What?
I don't even remember how I used to open my show in person, to be honest. I don't even remember. It's so bizarre. And then I don't know how I got from point A to point B. But I remember at that time, my show was structured around a different person. Like I had left working in advertising and everything was about this ad persuasion stuff. And it doesn't even really relate to me anymore. I don't really care about it. So I want to talk more about having fun and what's level 7 wizard, unpacking that the whole time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We hope you listening, you're probably going through these questions as well. This is something as artists, we all definitely evolve and like our motives and everything changes. So just be receptive to the things that interest you. Well, shall we talk about our little jealousy for other performers who are already actively out there and performing? What are you thinking about that? You see all sorts of people like Joe Diamond and Charles Bach who are already rocking in live performances. How do you feel about it all?
I'm actually, for the first time, not jealous of this situation. I'm excited for all these people, watching them and get back on stage. I mean, I think it makes me excited to be a fan of magic again because I am burned out from the virtual magic stuff. It's still, obviously, we've talked about in other episodes, it'll be a service that we still provide. Virtual magic is here to stay. And there's other magicians that have talked about it too. Virtual magic was here before this trend of virtual magic too. There were other performers already doing these sorts of virtual team meetings and virtual presentations of magic. It just became really hot. I'm not jealous at all. I'm really excited and proud for all these performers getting back. It's so cool. I even got an email that they're doing Magi Fest, the convention later this year. So there even conventions are like in-person conventions are coming back. Tricklings of FISM, right? FISM is going to be happening in North America. So I'm not jealous at all. It makes me really excited. And it also allows us, in a weird way, I guess, selfishly, to observe how it's being perceived and accepted in the world. Like, do we need to focus on no touching? Is everyone actually kind of cool with handshakes and everything? And maybe because in Ontario we're held back just a little bit. I mean, it's not even a lot. It's only by a couple months when you really look at it. Because we're held back a little bit, maybe when we go back to normal, we will tiptoe over that weird precautionary phase of like, can we touch? Can we not touch? And it'll just be like, boom, we've seen it happen all over the world. It's totally fine. What do you think? How are you feeling when you see these other magicians and performers getting back to it?
Yeah, I'm thrilled for them. I think it's a great sign for the future. Like, I really hope, I mean, like we all do, we're all sort of anticipating, and I just hope we're not disappointed on that. I'm kind of anticipating a surge of live entertainment, and kind of also probably more of a surge of like connecting to the things that interest us finally again. You know, this is more than just a passion for a lot of us. This is also like our employment, but this is like what we get our kicks out of. This is like how we are, you know, define ourselves in some levels of happiness, just being on stage and sharing our stuff with other people. And so I think a lot of people will really appreciate and are hoping that kind of surges. So I triple snaps there that same emotion. So it would be nice to be on stage and performing. So I'm thrilled for these, and I hope it's these gents and ladies who are out there performing. Hopefully it's a sign for all of us, surge to come.
And speaking about performers that are already back at it too, Carlos, member of the Discord, is already back at it as well. I was messaging him back and forth, and he's gotten to perform again. He took his kids out to the Ren Fair, and he wants to raise them as Ren kids. He was telling me the whole story. You gotta, everyone, if you listen to this podcast and you want to dive deeper into these conversations with us, make sure you join the Discord. It's a really cool group of magicians and fans of magic, and I mean, we got video game developers and film festival buffs and everything. It's such a cool place. And we got David Johnson, Kingston Magic Theater, and so many other magicians involved. This has been a really great discussion today, Joyce. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Just to do, if you know a magician friend that wants to be more connected with the magic industry, tell them about our podcast. Tell them we're on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe to YouTube. You have that chance to win Airlock, Virtual Magic Show Opener, a deck of specials playing cards, another random deck from my collection, and all you have to do is comment on my playing card problem, what your favorite deck of cards is. This has been really great, Joyce. My name's Graemazing.
Such a good episode. My name is Ryan Joyce. Shablazim.
To Doozle.